Hey.
Good morning,
Well,
Mr.
yeah, I guess it is morning still for you.
Oh, good morning. I'm gonna mute myself because pets and kids.
Fine.
Do you want us to turn our videos off for bandwidth or no?
I don't care. Welcome, welcome. It's always awkward when we're waiting for people to join. We're trickling in. So I've opened my chat up. If anybody wants to ask questions while I'm talking, that's probably the best way to do it so that I can eye those and answer them when I have a second to stop talking. I'm just gonna give it a couple minutes. It's recording, so if anybody misses it, that's fine. I feel like summer's almost over and it just like happened so fast, even though we've been home for so long. If you want to have Canvas open, by all means, you can. Sometimes it's easier for you to work while we do stuff. Sometimes you can just watch, take notes, whatever, however you're a better learner. Makes no difference to me. And if I'm doing something and I go too fast, and you're like, hold on, what's that again? I can back up. This is live, so fine. All right, so for anyone in HSE, I do know that we were given instructions that if you're in elementary, the district is going to provide a homepage that you are going to have to use. However, they have also said that if you want to link your own homepage to theirs, you can do that too. So you don't have to, but I know a lot of people want to make a cute one. And so if you want to make one and link so that your kids can go directly to your page and go to what you want, you have both options. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. And if anybody joins us late, then we can just back up if we need to. All right. Oh, come on. This is the first Zoom I've done on my new computer and it's asking for all these things.
That's how I felt yesterday when I was doing a Zoom with my team. I was like,
Yeah, well, because the district, so for those of you not in HSE, the district got us new computers, but now I don't know if it's gonna let me share my screen. Okay, maybe it is now. Here we go. Okay. So you should be able to see this is my homepage. I like to make it very simple. I will add things to my homepage. Like these are all buttons that my kids can click, and I'll add things as I think of them. But I'm going to go with the people, like the most questions to the least questions, so that I get more bang for my buck. All right, so the most questions I had was with modules and assignments. And so I'm going to start with modules. All right, so we have this modules on the left. I also linked modules on my homepage. For some reason, even though I have this long list over here, my sixth graders still need a button to click. All right, so I work strictly in my modules. I build everything in my modules, and that just makes it easier on me so I don't have to add things to it later. Like you can make pages and quizzes separate and then put them in the module, but I like to like build my module as I go. So here are, like I have my kids do weekly agendas. So these are all my modules I had. This is last year's. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna start with one for this year that I'm doing. All right, so I'm doing a getting to know you module with my kids so that we can all get to know each other virtually. It is really easy. You just click plus module to start a module. All right. So let's say I wanted to do a module on, this is going to be add module. Now, if you are creating modules where the kids can work through them, you can always lock modules ahead of time so that they have to finish one before they get to another. And that's a little bit more advanced, but if you get that comfortable, sometimes I do that. Like when we do writing units, I'll do a short module and then they have to work through that before they can get to the next thing. All right, so we're gonna add a module. It always adds it to the bottom. Okay, so here we go, summer break. Now, in order to add things into that module, there's another plus sign right here. You can add assignments, quizzes, files, pages, discussions, external URLs. So you can build this however you want. It can be as simple as you need. It can be very complex, whatever works for you. I always start with pages. And so I'm just gonna start with a page so that we can see that. If you do make the pages ahead of time, this is my list of pages that I have. And so you can find a page that you've already made and add that. You can add a new page. I'm gonna name it, what is summer break? All right, and then you can choose, so the indent is just like if you want to kind of like level your different things. I've done that. So when I've done my weekly agendas, sometimes I will indent like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then I'll indent the next week, and then I'll indent it again, and then go back just so that it gives the kids a little bit of, they can see the difference between the groups. All right, so I'm gonna have a page, and let's say that has like all the information I want on summer break. And then after I do that, I'm going to want to give my kids an assignment. So I can go ahead and add the assignment. I don't even have to make it yet. I just know after they read it, I'm gonna have them do an assignment. So I'm gonna put, tell me about your summer break. And it adds it as assignment. If you can see, there's a difference in the icons. So a page looks just like a page. An assignment, it's like a pencil on a page. And then I can add, let's say I want to do a quiz on everyone else's summer break. So tell me about your and it's not adding it. All right. I don't know why it's not adding quizzes. Okay, I'm just gonna pick a quiz I have so that you can see what it looks like. Try to find. Okay, so it won't let me add it. I don't know. Typically, you can just put a quiz in, like put new quiz in there and then write it as you go. This does show us, this turned to green because it's published, but if the pages, it doesn't matter if they're published or not, if the whole module isn't published. So if you're having a problem and you're like, my kids can't see the module that I put out, it's because you haven't published it. I've been using this for 4 years and I still run into, oh, I forgot to publish it. So you just have to click this and it'll publish it so that all the kids can see it. If you click that, it's gonna unpublish. So that's nice because you can keep control of if you're done with a unit, you can close it. If you have made it ahead of time, you can close it until you want it opened. All right, I'm gonna stick with a couple more things about modules and then I'll show you assignments. All right, so you can see here, you can move contents in the module. So if I'm like, oh, I wanted them to do a quiz first, like a pre-test, you can click move and then you can just move stuff in there. You can also, this is one of my favorite parts, you can make it so that kids cannot just click next through there. They have to do certain things in order to get to the next part of the module. And so I click add requirement and it says students must complete all the requirements. Sometimes you might make a module and you're like, I don't care what order they do it in. And so that's fine. Or you may say that you want them to do it in sequential order, which means they have to do A, then B, then C. All right, then you have to make sure that each part of the module is set up, each one, so that they'll get to each one. So the first one I have is what is summer break? So you can see that's my page. And you can either have them view it, you can have them mark as done, or you can have them contribute to the page. So you can make them do something to the page so that you know that they've done it. In this instance, I'm just gonna put mark as done. All right, I'm trying to find, sorry guys, I can't see the chat while I'm talking, while I'm sharing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Are the buttons images with links? So you can, oh yeah, so my buttons on my homepage. Yeah, those are just, I made them in PowerPoint and then I hyperlinked them so that they could click it and it would go somewhere. All right. So if I go back here to, I like to have the kids mark it as done just because then they're physically doing something. They're not just viewing it. And then I'm going to click add requirement. And I want them to do the tell me about your summer break. It's an assignment. So I just need them to submit it. And then the last one is a story out there. So it's a quiz. With the quizzes, you can do a couple of things. You can just have them submit the quiz, or you can have them score a certain amount, like a certain percentage before they move on. So like when I was doing story elements, I had the kids, they had to get a mastery before they could move on. And then they could message me if they weren't getting a mastery so we could figure out what we needed to work on together. And then they could retake that test. And so I set it up so that they can retake it whenever they want, but they can't move on until they scored. So if it's 10, they won't move on until it's at least a 7. And so it's that, you know, relearning and helping them. So for this, I'm just going to put submit the assignment. Now, when the kids do it, I don't know if everybody knows how to do view as a student. Whenever I do something, I view it as my students so that I can make sure that they're seeing what I want. Okay, so I'm going to go to modules, and here I'll go, I'm on home page. If I click this modules, I hyperlinked it, so it'll go straight to the modules. You can also move your modules. So let's say I don't want, oh, I didn't make that, I didn't publish it. See, that's another thing why you check this. If you're like, I can't find that module, you didn't publish it. Okay, so let me go back to, and I always move my modules. So I'm gonna move this to the top since this is the one we're working on. Once you start working in here, you're gonna have a lot of modules. And the arrow on the side is really helpful because I have a lot of things in all my modules, and so it closes it so the kid, so that I don't see every single thing when I'm scrolling. So that's why I usually close it, and I teach my students how to organize it that way too. All right, so I'm gonna publish this, and then I'm gonna view it as a student. All right, so this is what the students are gonna see, and it says I have to complete all the items in this, and it won't even let me click on the other ones. So I'm gonna click on what is summer break. It's gonna have the stuff on the page for them to do. Here's the mark as done that they have to do. It won't let them move on. So if I don't mark that as done and I click next, it's gonna tell me, something. It says this assignment is part of a module that hasn't been unlocked, and then it tells me what I have to do before I can move on. And so it says I have to submit the assignment. So I have to go back, mark this is done, and then I can move on. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to see. Does it make sense to have a button on the homepage for days of the week? Yeah, I've seen all kinds of things like that. I've seen teachers who have the days of the week. You just have to make sure that when you create those, you're changing the link every week. So if you have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're just changing that every week so that when they click that, it takes them to the right place. So you just have to remember to change those links. But I have seen a lot of elementary teachers put those important things on their homepage so that the kids aren't having to go search for everything. Like I have a kindergartner, well, she's a first grader now, but it's easier to have those things on the homepage. Especially we are trying to make this as student friendly without putting any pressure on the parents. So if there's things that the kids can do, that's helpful. All right. So that's how you build modules. Are there any other questions about how to build a module? Does it make a lot of sense? I hope. Okay. So assignments was another big one, and so I'm going to go over assignments. All right, I got to leave student view. And then there are multiple ways that you can do assignments. So you can do discussions, you can do assignments, and you can do quizzes. The assignments, I'll explain. I'll actually try to explain all three because you get different results with all of those different. Oh, sorry, I think somebody is joining. Okay. So here are my assignments. You can definitely see that the ones that are green are the ones that I had published, and you cannot unpublish them after the kids have worked on them. You can delete them, but you can't unpublish them. All right, so here's the one that I started to tell me about your summer break. Okay, this is what it looks like. I haven't done anything to it yet. You can always add rubrics to your assignments. And what I love is if you've already made a rubric, like I have a narrative unit, I can find the rubrics that I've already used and just put it in there and reuse that rubric over and over and over. And so like if I'm doing a writing narrative, here's the rubric on the right. I'll go ahead and, I think I can, there it is. So I'm just gonna use this rubric. It appears right here And then when you're grading, you have that rubric right next to the student assignment. And so you can use the rubric to grade instead of having to have a paper rubric. Okay, so I want to add actual content for my students. All right, so my assignment is I want to know how you spent your summer. You can make a video, create a collage, or share in any other creative way. All right, so this is where you're going to put the directions, and then you're going to put your points here. Now I have a rubric attached, and so obviously the points are going to be match whatever that rubric is. And then I think it's not letting me do it because it's summer, so that's why I can't make any points or anything. You can display the points. If we have older teachers, you can display it as a percentage. I always just do points and then teach my kids that they have to figure out percentages, but that's a 6th grade standard. That's why I do that. You can also not count an assignment towards a final grade. So sometimes when I do an assignment, I just want to know that they did it. So I just give a point and then I mark it don't count as the final grade. I just want to know that they've completed it. It doesn't really, this matters more for teachers who are using Canvas as like a grade book too, because 7th through 12th can send their grades to Skyward. We have to enter them manually. All right, so submission type. This is how you want your students to submit an assignment. You can have them submit it online. You can have them submit it on paper. So that's if we're in the classroom and they're just submitting something that you're grading by hand, you put it on paper so that you know that you're collecting it. Or an external tool. And so that would be like, if they're making websites or they're doing something like that, this is where they would put their external, that's where they put their URL, which is really cool. I'm gonna have my kids make websites this year based on different countries. And so once they finish their website, they'll be able to just put the URL in there. And then when I do the speed grader, it'll pull up their URL with the rubric and I'll be able to look at both things at the same time. All right, typically what I do is online. And then it gives you options. They can do a text entry. So if you're doing like essay questions and you just want them to type something up, they can type it on Canvas. Now I would suggest, this is really important if you've never done this before, have them type it in Word or Notes or something, and then copy and paste it, only because Canvas, if they type a whole bunch and then they have to stop and move on, Canvas won't save it. And a lot of my kids have lost work. And so I say, do all your work outside of Canvas, copy and paste it into Canvas, just so that they still have it. But if you're gonna have them do that, you can also do a file upload and you can have them just type it in Word and they can submit it as a Word document. This is my favorite for writing. So I have my kids submit their Word document and then I can make comments on the document inside of Canvas and it gets to them and then they can go back to Word and they can make those changes. You can also still do a website URL. You can do media recordings. So I said, if you want to make a video for me, you can make a video and then you just put media recordings and they can share all kinds. And you can just say, open it up and say, all right, well, I don't care what you're making. This is a creative project. However you want to submit it, submit it. And so those are different options for submitting an assignment. All right, submission attempts. So you can say, all right, you only have one chance at this. You submit it one time. Well, or sorry, unlimited would mean they can, you're like, you messed up, here, fix it. And then they can resubmit it. Or you can limit it to, and of course it's not gonna let me do it right now because it's summertime. You can say, all right, you only get 2 chances, which I'm not that kind of teacher. I'm like, if you need to keep making changes, make changes and keep fixing it. You can make group assignments. You would have to do this in, oh yeah, it's closed for grading periods, but you would have to create the groups in groups first, and then you can make it a group assignment, and then that's kind of cool. It'll group the kids for you already. You can require peer reviews where you can assign specific kids to peer review specific kids. So like when we do buddy writing, and you want, okay, this is your buddy, you're going to review this person's writing, or you can just have it like random. Like, so, you can manually assign it or it'll automatically assign it for you. You can also have it anonymous so that then when the kids are commenting on somebody else's, they don't have to worry, you know, like who's saying something to them. All right, this, it's not gonna let me change anything in here, but it's really cool because you can assign it to everyone. You can assign it to specific, so like I have 3 courses and I usually merge all my courses and I can assign it to just one class period. You can also, if you have differentiated learning and you have different assignments for different kids, you can assign this to specific kids. And so you can say, okay, well, Sarah Jo is getting this assignment, just her. So, and then you put the due date in. You can also create your assignments in advance. And then if you put available from, so if I don't want them to see it this week, I can put next week's date. And they cannot open it up to see any information until that date opens it up. And then the until will close it. So they have those dates that they can view the assignment and that's it. When you put a due date, it will automatically put the assignment on their Canvas calendar. So you don't have to make 2 steps. Anytime you put a due date, it goes straight to their calendar. All right. Any questions about the assignments? Trying to read. So Angie, for math assignments, you can do, what I would probably do is have them do it on pencil and paper. And then they can just take a picture and submit it. You can also use, Kelly Moore showed us how to like have the kids use PDFs on their iPads, and they can write on their iPad, but then they can still take a screenshot and submit it that way.
What grade does Angie teach? And did she?
Oh, good question. Angie, what grade do you teach?
4th.
4th?
Yeah. So they take a screenshot. Would that be a file upload?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, and it's so easy. So when submitting pictures is probably the easiest way for my kids to submit stuff. So when it's submit a file, I wish I don't have my iPad on me, but basically they click submit file and then it says photo library. And then they click that and all of their pictures on their iPad show up and then they just pick the one that they want to submit.
Okay. I didn't realize that would be called a file upload. So that's pretty easy.
Yeah. Oh, it's really easy. I think file upload is probably one of the easiest ways to get assignments to you. A file for the rubric. Katie, when you're asking about a file for the rubric, do you mean like, so I had created a bunch of rubrics last year, and so I have a file that I can refine those rubrics, or I can create a new rubric as I go.
So did you have to input that stuff, or were you able then just to upload the file and then it put it into those categories?
Oh, let me go back and I'll show you how that works. Okay, and then one more, before I go back and look at rubrics, it says, is there a way for them to video in Canvas? So there is a way for them to video in Canvas when, let me click save. Cannot change because the assignment is due in a closed grade. Okay, I'm gonna have to go to an assignment I already made. Mary, I embed everything in my modules. So assignments are in module, everything is in a module. And I even link assignments. So if I have a page with, here, let me show you. Okay. Okay, so here's a good one. All right, so I did this module this is something that I actually did during quarantine. And so I had the kids, this is just the directions, and then I had a video that they could watch about plot. And then they moved on and they had a quick vocab about plot. And this is one that I set up that they could not move on until they scored. So it's 6 questions. So I said you had to like score at least 5. I think you had to get 5 or 6 right in order to move on. And then this is information about plot. Okay, and then this is an assignment that we did. And so I have the directions in this box up here. It tells them all this information. It has the due date. And then you can preview it. Shh, guys. Oh, this was a quiz. Sorry. I don't turn the assignment tab off. It's always available. They can only see the ones that have been published. So all the assignments are in there, but they can only see them when I want them to see it. Although I don't think my kids even ever went there. Like I trained them to go only to the modules. I'll show you kind of what it looks like. Sorry. All right, I'm just gonna go. So I trained my kids to go to these weekly agendas and it had our work on here. So this is like what my kids' weekly agenda will look like. And so this is work that they were doing on their own. And then I told them what we were doing each day. And then I had links to quizzes or assignments, different things like that. Oh yeah, I will definitely show you how to do that. Okay, let me quickly show you how to do the rubric. And then I'll go back and show you how to turn off tabs. You can kind of see on mine on the left, these ones that have an eyeball crossed off, my kids can't see those. And so I still see everything, but it really helps narrow things down for them. Okay, I'm looking for the writing that we did. All right, sorry. You know what? You can also search for stuff. I'm really bad. I'm just like scroll, but. Okay. Well, I can't find the one I'm looking for. That's okay. So I'm just going to show you how to create a rubric. So you create your rubric by just clicking plus rubric. I don't have a rubric in here right now. If I wanted to, if I already wrote one, I could click find a rubric, that's fine. If I needed to create a rubric, I'm gonna title it. So this is for lead writing. And then you're gonna edit these, the description of your criterion. So I'm looking for interesting words. And then you get to change here how many points you want it worth. So you can do, let's say I just usually do like MNP, like mastery, non-mastery, and partial mastery. So I usually do 3 points. And then in here, I will do well, this one's 2. And then I'll put partial, mastery, and then you can describe like what you're looking for. And then you can edit this to 1 point. And say non-mastery. And then you can edit this one to say mastery. And then you can add criterion. And I can duplicate it if I want everything to show up just like that. But then instead of interesting words, I'm looking for punctuation. And then it's going to keep on, I can keep making criterion that I want for my rubric, and I can add it as much as I want. I can add more detail in here. Like I can make the rubric whatever I want to. Does this look okay?
Mhm.
All right. You can also write comments while you're assessing students. You can remove points from the rubric. So these are all these choices that you can do. I like to click the use this rubric for assignment grading so that when I do the speed grader, it shows up. Has anybody used the speed grader?
Yes, it's awesome.
Yeah. So you just click speed grader. I don't even know if I'm gonna have students in here anymore. Oh, okay. So here's one of my students writing. And then right here, you just click view rubric. And then you click the box that matches your criteria. So you're like, well, yeah, those are really interesting words, or they didn't use punctuation at all. And then you can also make an external comment and say no punctuation.
So could you do that then with the Achieve articles when we're doing the thought questions and you can already put it in there?
Yeah. So if you wanted to put your thought question in Canvas,
Yeah.
yeah. And then you can make, and then after you make an initial rubric, you can use it every time you do a thought question.
Holy smokes.
And then you just, so this is one student, and then the arrows at the top up here take you to the next student. And you just go through every student's writing, and then here's your rubrics right here. And you can put comments down here. Like, so you have comments in here for each criteria, but you also have comments down here. You can put like, this is your best writing yet, way to go. You just have to make sure you click submit or it won't save. Yeah, the students will see the rubric feedback. You just have to teach them to look at it. And so that's something I do is I'm like, I actually will conference with my kids after their first rubric assignment, and I'll say, okay, so this is how you look at the comments and this is how you're going to get better. All right. And then this box at the top is going to take you back to the grade book. So you have the grade book. You can also get to the speed grader in the grade book. And so you just have to click in this box, there's a little arrow. And then they have the speed grader here at the top, but you can also change things in, like, so if you want to mark things as late or missing. Oh, also with the grade book, if you have a grade in your grades and the students haven't turned it in by then, on their grade book, it will show missing. And you don't have to like go in and mark every student as missing work. If it has a due date and it's not in by then, it automatically says missing. All right, I'm gonna go, so I wanna show you really fast how to change so that the students don't see all of these things on the left. Go to settings. All right, so there's a lot of things to look at in settings. It gets a little overwhelming. Okay, so this navigation here, this is where if you don't want students to see stuff, you just drag it down here. So like I don't want students to see all of these things. That's what I have here as the eyeball is crossed off. So if I just want them to be able to click my modules button on the home page and I want them to actually click in modules, I can just move it down here. And the students won't see the column on the left anymore. They'll just see what is on your home page. Make sure you always hit save. Okay, videos. I wanted to show you how to do a video. That's right. Okay, let me go back to assignments. All right, I have to find one where I allowed the kids to. Oh, this might have worked. File up. Oh, it's. Okay, I wonder if I have to do it as a student. There are a couple of things that even in student view are difficult. Okay. Where'd it go? I just saw it. See, I use Canvas for everything. Now I can't remember what that was called. Oh, was that great? I know it had step 2 in it. Let me see if I can. There we go. Okay, here we go. So submit assignment. If it's file upload, then they're gonna have to already make it. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if the kids can make a video. I know I can make a video. The kids may have to create a video, and then if it's on their iPad, they can submit it. See, this is where they click choose file. It's not gonna work for me. Oh, it did.
It could be because you're on a laptop
Yeah.
and not the iPad.
That could be it too. But so if they've made a video, they can just click the video. I always suggest to my kids to make their stuff outside of Canvas and then put it in Canvas, just because I know that Canvas will delete stuff sometimes. Yeah, so Katie, I tell my kids not even to use the app because I want everyone to see the same thing. And so I insist on my students to go to the website. And so we set up a link at the beginning of the year. So my students, I go with everybody and we log in to the Hamilton Southeastern website. We click Canvas, and then I have everybody make they favorite it so that it's in their favorites so that they can go to it over and over, because I have kids who want to use the app, but it's not the same. And then I have students who are like, well, it's not working. I'm like, well, you're using the app. That's why it's not working. Yeah, so Mary, our kids, everybody either rents an iPad from the district or they're allowed to get their own. So those are the two options. I don't know how it's going to work. I know during the school year, like students who don't have an iPad by a certain date, like we contact their parents and make sure that they're running one. I just know all my students, we're one-to-one in some aspect. File size limit, I don't know that. That's good. I'll make note of that. I can ask our tech person, Kelly Moore. She would probably know that. That would be good to know, because I've had students try to upload videos and they must have been too big. I've also, if students make videos and they're too big, I have a teaching YouTube page. Like it's like you can't find it, but like I can send the link to the kids. So sometimes I will upload their video to my YouTube page and then just submit the link so that I can still like grade it. So I'm not sure if they can't, I don't know if they're going to let you edit the district homepage or not. But I did read in somebody sent something out yesterday or today that said, if you want to make your own, you will be able to link it so that the kids they'll automatically go to the district homepage, but then they'll be able to go to your homepage and then you can make it however you want. I'm not sure at this moment how that's going to happen. Katie Norton may know better because she's been working with K1, K2. And so she may know that better. Sixth grade has had this, we've been using Canvas. This is our 4th year. And so we've been using it for a while. And when we started, they had optional homepage templates that we could use, or we could make our own. And so I think they're just trying to help elementary streamline this, since you guys were all kind of, you didn't really get the full help last year in using it. Yeah, Katie, it did say that the district will have a homepage, but then teachers could make their own on there. That was one of the emails that we got yesterday or today. Okay, I have a little bit of time left, so I am going to talk about homepages in case you do want to make one. All right, so this, I have a banner that keeps popping up. Stop. All right, so here's our dashboard, and here's last year's class. So when I click on it, this is what I say by homepage. When they click on my class, this automatically pops up. You have to set your homepage. The district is obviously going to set K through 4, but you can link pages to things, and I'm going to show you how to do this. All right. Oh, I'm still in student view. All right. So once you've made a page, well, actually, let me just start from the beginning. We'll go to pages. It's always going to show your home page. You want to click view all pages, and then you're going to want to create a page. All right, so I'm going to call it test homepage. So this is now a blank slate. It's a little bit scary. What I did was I created all of my things in in PowerPoint, and I saved. It would not let me open PowerPoint up yesterday for some reason, but I save all my images as a screenshot. So here's my banner. So when I made it in PowerPoint, I then screenshot. And then I usually name it. So it says banner right here. And so I and then I did the individual, I made all of these on PowerPoint, but then I took individual pictures so that I could make them all buttons.
Hey, Katie.
Yeah.
When you hit share screen, I believe you just put it for your,
So
what
you're
you're
not seeing
using,
this.
so we can't see your PowerPoint.
Oh my goodness. Wait, do you see the Canvas page?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, so I don't know how to share that other stuff, but I did just save it. So I took a screenshot and saved it on my desktop. That's pretty easy to do. Now to add images, you just embed your image, click Canvas, and then you're going to upload your files. Okay, so this is why I name my screenshots, or else I'm just going to get all these screenshots, but I know I named it banner. So there's my banner. It's going to load it into Canvas, and then it's going to let me, you have to click update so that you can update the page. So there's my banner. Now, Canvas isn't as fun as PowerPoint. Like, you can't move things like where you want them. You can't like drag it in the middle of the page. It's here, and then you can either make it larger or smaller. Like that's the only choice you have. But you can make a table. And so I always make tables for things, and then I embed my images into the table. All right, so my announcement button, so I'm stealing it from my desktop. I'm uploading it into Canvas, and then I'm updating it so that it goes in here. Now, since I did those individually, I can click that one picture and I can hyperlink it. So like if I wanted them to go to, like I hyperlink Clever, and so I can hyperlink to an external website, or I can hyperlink it to something inside of Canvas, and those are your buttons over here. So you can link it to a certain page. So these are all my pages. You can link an assignment. You can link anything that you want, or I want them to be able to click it and go to all of the announcements. And so if I click course navigation, here are all of the announcements. I hyperlink it, That button is now live, and when they click on it, it will take them straight to all of the announcements on Canvas, well, in my class. Does that make sense? Okay. And so I do that with all of my buttons. And then if I don't want you to actually see this ugly table, you can go to table properties and then just get rid of the border, make that say 0. And there you go. You can change the size of the images inside the table. I wanted to line everything up with the red box, and so I was changing all the sizes of those. And what I did was I created a table, so now I can put as many boxes as I want in here. It's if you use the table, you can only it has to be the same size. So if you want to have 2 buttons on the next row, what you're going to do is you're just going to create a new table. So I do shift return to make it a very small space. If you just do return, it's like a double space. So I can now do a table with 2 rows, and then I can have 2 buttons here. So you just have to make a new table if you want a different amount of like images in a row. All right, so you just then save it. You have to publish it if you want the kids to see it. I'm gonna go back to my one that I made. All right, so this is not a link. It doesn't take us anywhere. And then this is just contact information. But then these, so this announcements takes them to the list of announcements that I've put on there. And kids can reply to announcements too. I really like that. If I go back to my home page. So if you do external links, like this is Clever, if I click on it, it's then going to take me to our Clever page where the kids need to log in, and then they can get to Clever and get to everything else. And so I know teachers who've been using Canva and they've been making really cute boxes. You can use that as a button. You can use pictures, like anything you want. You just save it as an image and then you hyperlink it to whatever you want to, and that's how you get buttons. All right. And I just want to show you the calendar so you can see all the assignments that I've given the kids. I'll have to go back a couple months. So this is what the calendar will look like. This on the right, these are your, so I have my own personal calendar on there. It's pink so that I know that nobody can see that but me. So I put like my kids' events on here. Like I had a meeting with a student, my own kids' information, and then like on here I was having lunch with some students. So I put everything on this calendar so that I see it. And then if you are in any other Canvas things, groups, or you can turn these on, and then you can even change the color. So if you click these 3 dots, it'll change the color. If you want to find your own hex, if you know how to do that, you can find it online. You can put your own hex in there too. My kids have, I want to see if I can find it. My teammate made me a teacher in his class. I don't know if I still have it. So he had made me a teacher in his class so that I could see his calendar so that we could also make sure we weren't all doing tests at the same time. But you can click these and it'll just add stuff to your calendar. So if your kids are like, I don't see anything on the calendar, it could be that they don't have it turned on for your course. Yeah, I didn't have that turned on. And then you can, oh, this is probably my favorite part. So I was supposed to have lunch with Penny on the 5th. And I'm like, oh, well, I was sick. And so we're going to move it a day. You can just move it. And it changes the due date in the student's information. So you don't have to go back to the assignment and change the due date. Just moving it on the calendar will change all of that for you. Oh, I do, Angie, I can show you. All right. So let me go back to my class. you go to people. So since I've used Canvas for a while, when I have teachers who teach the same thing and they're like, oh, can I get that from you? I add them to my class and then they can just take stuff from here. This actually is great because it shows you all of your students. It shows you all of the parents who are observing, and it'll even tell you who they're observing. You can set your groups in here. So you can see my book club 1, book club 2, book club 3. These are where I created my groups so that my students, when I gave them group assignments, it sent it out to just that specific group. But if you want to add a people, it's not going to let me add a person. It's okay. I have one I can add to. So the humanities team at my school, and for other teachers, you may want to ask Kelly Moore to create a new course for you. I think she's the one that did it. I don't know if you can create a course or not. We created a humanities curriculum framework for all the humanities teacher in our building, and we added everybody so that we can import our courses into here and then borrow stuff from each other without actually having to be in each other's courses. So you go to people, you click people here, you type in their address. So I already know she's in here. Nope. You make sure you change the role. All right. If they're a student, they're not going to be able to see they're not going to be able to see everything that you have in there. If you make them a teacher, they can see everything. If you make them a designer, they can help edit things. And if you make them an observer, it's like the parents where they only see the way they see it. All right. So I'm going to change it to teacher. Click next. Okay. So then I just click add users. She's going to get a message on her Canvas that says, we invite you to this course. She clicks accept. She's in the course. All right. I've hit almost everything that was on my questions. Do you know if the district will push that out automatically for the students to see everything? I don't know. Especially since I don't know how it's going to look for K through 4. When we get a new, well, here's a new class I have. So this is what it looks like when the district sends us a new course. They can't see some of these things. So I guess you have to change.
I was more of the calendar. So I would have, we set everything up before they even left school. And for some reason they unclicked our courses and then they didn't see squat.
The students unclicked it?
Yeah, they either unclicked it or somehow it didn't go over. And so then they were like, well, I don't have any assignments because they didn't have our course.
Well, yeah.
Is that a question I should ask Kelly?
Like if we can change, if we can make sure that
you see how on the calendar you have your Katie Thurston and then the Community 6, but you don't have any of the other ones clicked.
Right.
Sorry. So for the students, if they don't have those clicked, they don't see them.
Right. So if you have a student who says, I don't see any assignments, you're probably going to have to one-on-one walk them through and check their calendar first.
Yeah. That was the problem we were having. And when they were in the app, they couldn't.
Oh yeah.
I get to that part.
The app I have big problems with, especially with the calendar.
Okay.
So I insist that my kids look at the calendar because if they're on their iPad online, it looks just like this.
Yeah. But
it looks weird. Yes, Mary, you can change the class image. All right. This is fun. So this is my, okay, well, let's start with, so I'm going to do, here's my English Advanced for next year. This is how you change the color. You can also give it a nickname. So I changed mine to Humanities. I'm going to make it my advanced class. And then the color that you pick is also the color that's going to show up on their calendar. Now you have to go into the course and you have to go to settings. And then right here where it says choose image, you click that You can make your own, you can unsplash it. So I like doing libraries because I teach reading. I like big ornate libraries. So I'll just pick this one for now. And then you have to make sure you click update course details at the bottom. And then go back to your dashboard. And too far, too fast. There it is, it's changed. You can also, your students sometimes have an overlay on it. If they click those 3 dots, they'll have the option to, like, I don't remember what the exact word it is, but if they click something, it won't be as muted. So sometimes when my kids get it, like the colors kind of, like they still see the picture, but it's a little bit, the color is over, it's a little muted. And so they can change that too. That's why I have all these cute pictures on some of these, and then some don't have anything. And our district gives us all of these courses. Let me show you one more thing. If you don't want to see everything on your dashboard, you go here to all courses at the bottom of courses. Whatever you star on the left, you will see on your dashboard. So whatever you unstar, like I don't need my prep, I don't need a Canvas course for my prep periods. I change all of these. I don't have a set for social studies. So I unstar all of that. And then when I go back to my dashboard, I won't see as many anymore. So now I only have 5 on there. That's really helpful. And you can help kids do that too. If they're seeing too many, they can do the same thing. And they can see all their courses, star it or not. All right. I hope some of this was helpful for you guys. Don't be too stressed. If you have any other questions, feel free to email me, Kay Thurston. You can send me a message on Facebook, whatever. I have been doing one-on-one FaceTime with some people to help them if they need to set something up. Actually, last year I met at a restaurant with some friends and set all of theirs up in person, but I don't mind help in whatever aspect you need. We're all in this together and I want to help everybody. So, all right. Thanks for joining today. And everybody have a great day.
That's awesome. Hey, Katie, I wore my shirt for you today. Did I show it to you?
I love it.
I'm in Arizona.
I saw one that said Teacher Strong yesterday that I want to order.
Nice. Very cool.